Couple of things about Shedeur Sanders. Let's start with Chad Ochocinco. This is with Shannon Sharp. What he's hearing from Browns players about Sanders.
He's answering the questions perfectly. And the funny thing about it, that I got a couple of young bulls out there. I talked to Denzel Ward.
Yep.
I talked to some, but damn, I can't say the name. But anyway, I done talked to some people. He looked different. There's a difference when that young bull is out there spinning that ball. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Difference. I'm talking about football. I ain't talking about no media and all that hoopla and all them, on Twitter, they putting up the numbers. Some he was 10 for 12 for 2 touchdowns. I'm talking about when he's at the helm, he looks different. Whether he's going with the first team, second team, or third team. It don't matter. I understand getting drafted in the 5th round. All that means nothing when it's time to play football and that whistle blows. He looks different than the rest of the competition. That's what I heard. And I'm talking from a not Brother Ward. I'm just talking about from sources that's in that room, that's on that field, that's playing the sport.
That is a rookie mistake relative to a source. All right. Now, in reference to that, longtime Browns beat reporter Tony Grossi had this to say.
Tony, your reaction to Ochocinco?
Well, first of all, Chad does watch the ESPN Cleveland quarterback tracker, obviously.
He sure does.
He got his figures correct there. Shedeur's doing fine, okay? But this is more of the false hysteria that's being created. He's doing fine, but so is Dillon Gabriel, okay? But you don't hear Chad Johnson saying anything about Dillon Gabriel.
I don't know. Tony, are you seeing this dynamic that Shedeur is starting to win his teammates over?
Well, I think they're all winning their teammates over. So I see the same thing with Gabriel. And you talk about spinning the ball. No one out there spins it as well as Gabriel. I mean, actually mechanically spinning a driving spiral into a receiver's hands, he's better at that. So I think it's just more false hysteria. Shedeur is doing fine. He is getting better, but he's not the only one getting better.
So, Jeff, again, the stats, they're like counting home runs in batting practice at a Guardians game. So the stats, whatever. If you liked Shedeur Sanders, you like what you've seen. If you liked Dillon Gabriel, you like what you've seen because they haven't really played what will be anything close to NFL football yet.
And look, sometimes this stuff can get manipulated. And if you remember, last summer, there was basically only one beat writer that was trying to tell us all, hey, I don't see things with Deshaun Watson going well at all right now. Nobody else seemed to be reporting that. And then once we got to the regular season games, we saw that Deshaun Watson was struggling and, struggling mightily. I think, they're supposed to look good. You know what I'm saying? We're not into the point, where there's pads on. We're not into that stuff yet. The quarterbacks are meant to not be pressured or hurried. So ideally, you want to look good. I would think that if, the storyline was that nobody looked good, that would probably be more of a bigger story than that these guys are looking good. But again, we're talking about 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. And to this point, both seem to be, grasping it. So both seem to be doing well. It's not a surprise that maybe teammates are gravitating to Shedeur Sanders. Number one, the personality that he is, the family that he comes from, it just kind of made sense it was going to go this way. And quarterbacks should normally develop a rapport, certainly with not just their offensive teammates, all of their teammates. But you kind of see that, the bonding is there. And look, whether it's a David Njoku, whether it's a Jerry Jeudy, they understand, who is the greater possibility of being around longer at the quarterback position. And that would be Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel, obviously, then Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett, who's only got 1 year on his deal. I would think, if we're going to equate it to steps, so to speak, I would think it's a good first start. Obviously, July is important. Obviously, August is going to be the ultimate tell of the tale. But again, these players who, in Sanders and Gabriel, who played as much as they did in college, they should be able to go to knock out some OTAs and knock out some mini camps. But as those joint practices pick up, and then, of course, the preseason games pick up, that, of course, is going to be the ultimate tell of the tape.